All right, so I wanted to do a review here of the Brakenetics rear rotors that I attempted to install on my 2015 Toyota Highlander. Let me give you a little bit of background. I've done a lot of brake upgrades on everything from, track cars to Ferraris to motorcycles. Never had any problems until just now. So let me give you a little bit of the backstory. On my 2015 Highlander, after about 40,000 miles, I noticed there was a weird pulsing sensation when I'd stopped on the highway, and I tracked it down to some glazing and surface anomalies on the factory front rotors. I suspect that they were caused due to the use of the ceramic pads from the factory. If you're not aware, ceramic pads obviously are very popular these days, but ceramic has an insulating quality that's kind of nasty when it comes to brakes. Traditionally, when I was a kid, we all used we all used semi-metallic pads. When ceramic came out, I tried them and I wasn't real thrilled with them, other than the fact that they're super quiet, and that's kind of their big selling point. But here's the nasty little secret nobody tells you about ceramic pads. Ceramic, by its very nature, is an insulator. And when you're dealing with stopping a vehicle, you're generating a tremendous amount of heat. Now, normally with semi-metallic pads, that heat propagates through the pads, through the calipers, and is dissipated. With ceramic pads, while they are very quiet, ceramic acts as an insulator. You can kind of think of the space shuttle, for example. When it has ceramic tiles on it, it keeps the heat from propagating into the cabin and cooking the astronauts, which is a good thing. When you start using it on brake pads, what it does is it keeps the heat kind of isolated up against the surface of the rotors. And after a while, that can start to have negative consequences. And that was the case with my Highlander. So I decided I was going to upgrade my rotors and pads, and I started doing some research. I've settled on this company here who makes these rear rotors called Brakenetics. So I went on Amazon and I purchased their kit that has the slotted cross drill rotors front and rear. Bought some semi-metallic pads. Initially I put them on the front, left the rear stock rotors on the Toyota Highlander, and I was very impressed with how they function. The car stopped much better, and so then I decided, well, let me go ahead and install these rear rotors. That's when the problems began. As soon as I installed the rear rotors on the Highlander, I noticed a horrific noise coming from the back of the vehicle, and it sounded, every time we stopped the car or pressed on the brakes, it sounded a lot like a 747 jet was landing on top of our roof. I thought, uh-oh, sounds like something's gone off track with these rear cross drill slotted rotors. So I thought, well, I really like the way these look. Let me try switching to ceramic pads just in the back and see if that solves the problem. Put some ceramic pads on. Nope, same noise, which was kind of shocking because normally, like I say, ceramic pads are very, very quiet. I then realized that the problem was with these rotors themselves. I guess either by the design or the fact that maybe they're too thin to actually be drilling and slotting them. Whatever the case, I think it makes like a resonance or kind of acts like a bell and makes just a horrific echoing noise. So what I did was I purchased a set of solid rotors off Amazon, since I had tossed the factory rotors from Toyota. Installed those, and immediately the sound went away and the car was quiet. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that these are the problems here. It's not the design of the rotor, it's the fact that they're cross-drilled and slotted. So I figured, well, let me contact Brakenetics. So I contacted Brakenetics and I basically said, hey, here's what I ran into with your rear rotors, and I think probably, maybe they aren't correctly engineered, or maybe they shouldn't have been cross-drilled in the first place. Maybe there's not enough meat or something, and I'd like to return just these. Didn't really get much of a response from them, and finally, after getting Amazon involved, I did get a response. Their basic their attitude basically sucked, in my opinion. And their stance was kind of like, well, you know, give us a call. Like, okay, what's that? You know, I don't want to talk to you. I already know you make bad rotors, and there's something wrong with them. I want you to, you know, maybe help me out here with a refund and let me send these back, or, you know, toss them in the trash or something. No, can't do that. So back and forth with Amazon. Finally, you know, I contact Amazon and I say, hey, you know, I haven't heard anything back from Brakenetics. Amazon gets involved, says, please issue a refund to this customer. Brakenetics says, okay, you know, send the rotors back and we'll issue, you know, this much of a refund. Okay. So I said, well, send me a label and I'll send it back. No. So here's their stance. We're doing you a favor, Ray. We're making an exception. I said, oh, wow. Thank you so much for, you know, bending your rules and taking back your defective rotors. I really appreciate that. You probably shouldn't have made them in the first place. So I think I'm done dealing with Brakenetics. If you are trying to decide what company to deal with, obviously it's up to you. I think I would, you know, think long and hard before dealing with Brakenetics, especially if you're thinking about using their rear rotors here, which I you know, definitely have some sort of problem in my experience. I personally have dealt with, you know, like I say, Brembo and on the Ferraris and on the track cars and the motorcycle. Never had any problems with their products. Always had terrific customer support. So I was a little shocked when Brakenetics kind of, you know, was so hard to deal with. At the end of the day, it's not even worth sending these back. I'm going to put them on Craigslist, let somebody use them for a coal forge or something. Brakenetics, very disappointed with their customer service and kind of the way that they've handled this. Equally disappointed with the fact that I don't think they've ever actually tested these on a real vehicle. I think they're just probably sourcing these in China or something, hoping for the best. Like I say, if they had actually done any research and development on this product, or actually ever put these on a road vehicle and driven them, they would have immediately experienced the same horrendous sounds that I experienced, and definitely not something you can put on a passenger car, let alone even on a race car. I wouldn't tolerate this kind of noise. So buyer beware. Like I say, if you're contemplating going with Brakenetics, think long and hard. I didn't have any problem with their front rotors, but boy, on the rear rotors, no bueno. And the customer support I received from them was just awful. So it makes me think maybe that's not a company I'm going to ever do business with again. Okay, hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll leave the comment section open below in case anyone else has run into this sort of same issue with these rear rotors making a horrendous noise when you put them on. Again, I think probably it's a situation where they are too thin to be cross-drilled, and you know, perhaps we're dealing with a company that just has not done the adequate research and development on their products. So, okay, thanks for watching.